Hey everybody, I'm back with an update episode on the S2K. I love the car. It's been 6 months of really getting to know this car and love it. You should definitely buy one or keep one if you do have one. And if you don't believe me yet, you should definitely believe a guy that popped a blood vessel in his eye so that his eye matches the color of the car. Look at this. Look at my eye, okay? I did that for this car. Okay, in all seriousness, I didn't actually burst a blood vessel in my eye for the car. I choked on a vitamin like a week ago, maybe 4 days ago. And so now I look like a really short, chubby version of the Terminator. It's been a lot of fun. Anyways, I kind of wanted to do this episode to go through kind of 4 areas. Things I love about the car, things I hate about the car, what I've learned about the car, and any changes I've made and future changes that could happen, which I kind of went over a lot in the first video. If you haven't watched that, go watch it right after I bought it. All right, let's start with what I love about the car. I really do love the push start in a car this old. I think that's just kind of a unique feature, especially in an older Honda like this. Something you don't see in a lot of cars from that era, even though it's been out for, I think the first push start was like 1910, but Mercedes didn't really start doing it again until the 90s. So it's kind of cool. Early 2000s push start is kind of neat. I really enjoy the sound and the driving experience. So the sound of this VTEC motor, once you get into the VTEC or even before, it's just got a great sound to it. The driving experience is just unbelievable. The handling and the cornering, and you know, I finally have done a couple of mountain drives, and it's a ton of fun from, you know, in second and third gear between 20 and 50 miles an hour. It's laughable fun. Like, the smile on my face is massive when you're in a place where you're doing 65 to 70 and just cornering through these really smooth corners, and you're able to just string together corners like that. It's just so much fun to drive, and that's been a great experience. The fact that I can go do a mountain drive and do a 2.5 hour road trip and cover 300 miles on a tank of gas while driving like pretty aggressively or somewhat aggressively and keeping in the VTEC quite a bit, it's pretty funny. It's just like, what other car could you do that in where you're driving like that and you're getting 300 to 350 miles out of it on a tank of gas is awesome. Having a convertible top and having a convertible is just also a ton of fun, especially at night, you know, when it's been getting warmer out. It's so much fun to drive with the top down, and I think that just adds to the experience, especially when you're on a drive where you're kind of cruising through the mountains. It's been awesome. Speaking of driving through the mountains, the storage in this thing for a weekend trip is phenomenal. Like the fact that I can fit all of my gear in the back to film today, a backpack, and a go bag, and I could even fit more if I needed to, is kind of cool. Like in a car like this, if you think about other cars of a similar size, you don't always have that type of room. Obviously, it's not, you know, you're not going to fit 2 suitcases and duffel bags, but for a weekend trip or a long weekend trip, it's perfect. Like, you can't beat that. I think the very last thing I love about this car is that you can enjoy a burrito while you're driving it. And I don't care if I get some burrito crumbs in the car because it's a Honda and I can just clean it out, and it's not gonna impact the value if I get some burrito crumbs in the car. It's just great to be able to sit in a car and eat a burrito. It has been burrito tested. And I think I'm gonna start doing that with cars, is burrito testing them. So it's definitely something I've enjoyed. So what are a couple of things I don't like about the car? Well, one is the push to start is on the wrong side. And what I mean by that is I drive a Honda Accord as a daily, and it's on the right-hand side. And in this car, it's on the left-hand side. And so every time I get in, I go to push one side or the other, depending on the car I'm in, it all kinds of screws you up. Another thing is the car is actually very slow. Like, it doesn't have a ton of, you know, crazy torque or pep off the line. And it's not something where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't buy this car because it's slow, or I don't want to own it because it's slow. And I knew that going in. Everybody told me it was slow, but it's just kind of interesting when you're in it, you're like, oh, this thing is slow. And it's funny because people will see it and they think it's super fast. And once it's in a corner, it is. Like, I'm going to be quick in a corner or on a windy road, but from a zero stop at a red light, it is not quick at all. It's very slow. And lastly, I just can't imagine life without an S2000. The fact that I went this long without one, I don't know how I ever survived in life. Now I've noticed more happiness, a better work-life balance. I feel healthier. I'm not depressed. and overall just life is awesome. So if you don't have one of these and you're miserable, just get an S2000 and then you won't be miserable anymore. That's pretty much the medicine I would give you. And this isn't medical advice because I'm not a doctor, so please don't take it as that, but it will fix every issue you've ever had in your life. All right, so what I've learned so far. I've learned about a hidden compartment in this vehicle, which I've heard about like before I bought one, but I could never find a video. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough of where this hidden compartment was. I thought maybe people were talking about in the center console, there's a spot where you can press a button and a little compartment opens. But I figured if somebody doesn't know about that and it's considered hidden, then I'm like, they must be an idiot. But this other hidden compartment, my friend Kamani showed me, and it is amazing. I was wondering where I could fit more stuff inside the cab, and yeah, so now I know about the hidden compartment, and I feel cool, and now I will share it with the world. I've also learned that the car has a 410 final gear. I also learned that the 06 to 09s are the only cars with traction control, and then these cars, the 06 to 09, also have drive-by-wire technology, which I didn't know about until somebody commented on my last video, so thank you. Don't remember your username, but you can reference it, I guess, in comments on this one if you have anything else to add. And I also learned how to drive. Not well, but I am getting better at driving this car and driving a manual. Like I said in the first video, this is my first manual. This is my first sports car. So it's been a learning experience just driving a manual, and I think I'm getting pretty good at it. I can keep up with a few of the other guys when we go on drive, more aggressive drives and stuff. So that's been pretty cool too, to get to experience that, and I'm kind of looking forward to continue to work on that. All right, so changes I've made. So the big one is the wheels, which you'll see are a different color from the first video. I didn't really like that color with the stock wheels on this color car. I do like a lighter version of that bronze. So we decided to powder coat these wheels alien silver. It's a great color from, I think, Prismatic Powders, and P-Coats Boise did the powder coat. He did an amazing job. I highly recommend him if you're in the area. I think it just brings it back to like an OEM plus look, and that's kind of what I was going for right now, and honestly it looks so good with these alien silver wheels. Another thing we changed or fixed is the exhaust tip rattle, which you'll remember from the first episode if you watched it. It's rattling again. So I've put 2 rivets in this thing. I don't know what to do other than we did find a really rusty self-tapping screw in the one on the driver's side exhaust tip. So I'm thinking maybe I just put a really rusty self-tapping screw in the passenger side exhaust tip. I don't really want to do that because it looks really ugly when you look from underneath, but I can't put like 20 more rivets in this thing and it keeps coming loose. The big change, other than the wheel color, is we did a paint correction and a ceramic coat. Solomon at OC Detailing took the car. Took him like 9 hours because of how terrible the paint on this was. And it came out phenomenal. There are so many deeper imperfections in this that without repainting the car, he was never going to fix. When I wash it, the water just falls off of it. It's super easy to keep clean. It's just looks amazing compared to what it was before. And obviously he couldn't fix that. The front, section here is a completely different color from here to here. That's nothing he can do about. The amount of chips and the fact that in some spots the paint, like where they repainted, it's a stage 1 versus a stage 2. If it's plastic versus sheet metal, it's a stage 1 versus stage 2. The whole car needs to be repainted. But for now, the ceramic coat and the paint correction and the 2-year ceramic coat just did a phenomenal job. I'm so stoked about it. Thank you again, Solomon. What I don't have yet is a different exhaust. I mentioned in the first video, I do plan to do a different exhaust. That probably won't happen until next winter, but I will be doing a different exhaust eventually. And the last piece that I do want to do is just upgrade the brakes. Haven't decided on which ones or when, but that's kind of a goal maybe for this winter is upcoming as well. And then other than that, just general maintenance. This fall, it's had all its maintenance done for the spring and summer. It's ready to enjoy for the summer. It is summer right now. And other than that, it will have absolutely nothing else done to it other than me driving the absolute shit out of it all summer because it is awesome.